of Marshfield, Tuesday, October 14th. But we have to suspend until Hap gets here. So this is not my fault, and I'm very happy for that. Need to order, roll call. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C, identify possible conflicts of interest. Seeing none, move on to item D, public comment period, correspondence. At this time, I'll recognize members in attendance wishing to address the council. Upon recognition by me, persons may address the council first stating their name and address. Comments will be limited to no more than 5 minutes, and persons are asked to be respectful when addressing the council. No action will be taken regarding items not on the budget. However, the council will take comments from the public under advisement. Please note that common council members will not respond to your comments or questions. Matt McLean.
Hello, thank you, Lois. Matt McLean, 609 North Hume Avenue, speaking tonight on behalf of Visit Marshfield. So we have just released our dates for 2026 Maple Fall Fest. So it's the 19th and 20th here. I just wanted to give a brief update about how our festival went. We were blessed with great weather this year. And also we were able to work with the Packers to have them play a Thursday night game instead of Sunday. So that worked out pretty well. We really did have near record levels of vendors. We had 166 booths with 119 small business vendors. And so they did great. I actually had one of our vendors, one of our favorite vendors, Tim, the Maple Dude, told me that he sold the same amount of product in 14 hours over 2 days at Maple Fall Fest that he sold 30 hours over 3 days at Cranberry Fest, which is a much larger, giant festival. So that was kind of cool to hear. We couldn't do the festival without so much help. Columbus Catholic, with their athletic program in their school, really helped us. They served over 1,400 people, some great potato pancakes and regular pancakes. And then they also helped us out with volunteers for traffic control, parking, and helping visitors get around. And so that was a huge help. We had 35 volunteers total for the event. And I'd like to make special thank Jen Dallas and Ashley from the city, as well as Nikki. And also couldn't really do it without the help from the police department, fire department, ordinance, and of course the Parks and Recreation crew. So we did also have 13 local/regional sponsors and thousands of happy visitors. So that is kind of talk about Fall Fest. And then the week after, I was lucky enough to host 3 sports planners that requested to come to Marshfield. I'm in a group called Sports Wisconsin, and we partnered with the State Department of Tourism to bring 30 sporting planners to the state of Wisconsin that were interested in doing Wisconsin events. So it really helped out some of us, especially smaller CVBs, where if you want to go to these shows, you fly to like LA or Florida and you try to meet with 200 planners, and 70% of them don't want to go to Wisconsin. And so we brought the people that want to come to Wisconsin, and 3 specifically said Marshfield. And so I toured them around, had a lot of interest in a couple events at the high school in the new stadium there, as well as the new Columbus thing. So working on some of those, we're getting RFPs, requests for proposals for those. Some are looking as early as the summer of 26. Some are looking all the way into 2030 already. So got a lot of planning ahead there. So, and then I got to meet with, as I mentioned, about 30 of them in Madison over 2 days, and that was it was great. And then I guess I just also wanted to say we're really working on our visitor guide right now. So this is kind of our visitor guide season. I've opened the door to partners and asked for content. I've got some stuff from Main Street, some great pictures from Hub City Days, talking to the chamber and the fair. We actually got quite a few photos and information from the fair. So we're excited about that. And also just want to, if anybody's watching at home that says, hey, I have a great idea for content of things that would be cool for visitors, please reach out to us. And same thing with council members. If you have any great ideas or great pictures, please pass them our way. And I think that's just a brief update. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Matt. Any other citizen comments? Any other citizen comments? Seeing no other citizen comments, we'll move on to item E, approval of minutes, September 23rd, regular meeting. We have a motion by Alderman Fires, second by Alderman Curran. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Staff updates. Update on citywide redesign timeline. Tom Laux, Communications Director.
Thank you. It's an exciting time here for the city of Marshfield because the website, as you know, it is our 24/7 portal for doing business. for the public can get our information. It's a way for staff to be connected with entrepreneurs, citizens, and elected officials. So what I want to do is just go through 8 steps, and I'll do those really quickly, of our website process that's going to take place starting about a week ago is when it started. So initial setup and the kickoff took place on 10/8, and I'm working with our company called Revise on design examples, brand menus, navigation, social media links, quick links, you name it. That took 1 week to get going. But the next step, number 2, discovery and design. It's about a 6 to 8 week process in this phase. I'm going to be working with mock-ups of the homepage and other pages inside the website with the company. And at that time, after about 4 weeks in that process, it's my chance to work with city staff, city elected officials, communications committee, even city partners like Visit Marshfield Main Street, and the public. I think this is a good chance to see what they think. Again, none of this is live. This is all behind the scenes. I think it's really good to get some engagement on that. Work back and forth on that process. Number 3, that's when some more development takes place. It takes 2 to 4 weeks. It's called HTML. It's kind of behind the scenes. That's called hypertext markup language, so it makes things clickable and resizable. Number 4, going to take another 5 to 6 weeks. Content management system. That's a system that we use behind the scenes to put stuff on. And during that phase, we'll be working hard to make sure things are editable and functionable in that area. And also during that time, we'll be doing some content work with all the departments and pretty much starting that now already. Number 5, content migration, and that is a big thing because we do have well over thousands and thousands of different documents, well over hundreds and hundreds of pages. So we're looking through those now. Quality assurance, that's another one, and ADA, that's a big thing that you're going to be hearing about in the next year. 3 weeks on that, and training and beta site review. That takes 3 weeks, and not a chance, but then that's the time that we'll do some special training with new people and other people that have been part of this website since the beginning. Our go live is looking at late spring, early summer. So none of this is live at this point, but along the way, there'll be a lot of discussion with staff, yourself, if you would like to be involved, the communications committee, as well as the public, so we can get some ideas. So I just wanted to bring that to you so you knew. We signed a contract about a month ago, went through the process here, and just wanted to give you a timeline that we're looking at pushing this out late spring, early summer. So see me if you have any questions sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Item G, mayor's comments. I'm going to read a proclamation for the Pedestrian Safety Month and White Cane Safety Day. Whereas safe and accessible streets are essential for the well-being of all residents, including children, older adults, and individuals with disabilities. And whereas thousands of Wisconsinites, including more than 100,000 people with vision loss, rely on the sidewalks, curb ramps, accessible pedestrian signals, white canes, and service animals to negotiate public spaces safely. And whereas Wisconsin's white cane law requires drivers to stop at least 10 feet from pedestrians using a white cane or service animal, reinforcing the importance of driver awareness and pedestrian respect. And whereas communication can reduce injuries and save lives by investing in proven pedestrian safety measures such as high visibility crosswalks, traffic calming, and accessible design. And whereas raising awareness of pedestrian rights and responsibilities fosters a culture of safety, inclusion, and shared responsibility among all road users. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Lois T. Strake, Mayor of the City of Marshfield, Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Pedestrian Safety Month and October 15, 2025 as White Cane Safety Day in Marshfield, and call on all residents, leaders, and lawmakers to prioritize safe, accessible streets year-round. There are many towns that do this through the state of Wisconsin and across the nation. I feel this is important to bring to you and to the public, just to remind us about safety. Safety every day, but safety this week. And eyewitness thereof, I have set my hand and seal this October 14th, 2025, Lois T. Strake, Mayor. Thank you very much. And that is my report for this evening. Item H, Common Council comments. Seeing no comments, item I, City Administrator's update.
I have nothing this evening either.
Item J, reports from commissions, boards, and committees. Seeing none, consent agenda, meeting minutes and reports. We have a motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman Giles. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote. That motion passes. And we can take out item L because there's no action to be moved on the consent agenda. Item M, second reading of ordinance number 1534, municipal code amendment to chapter 18, modifying section 18-82, nonconforming and standardized lots, and section 18-83, nonconforming structures, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. As we often do in these meetings, since there were no questions or comments at the first reading back on September 23rd, I'll keep my comments fairly brief. I certainly take any questions you might have before we consider adopting both this ordinance and the one that follows under item N. The one under item M that we're talking about right now, that the mayor just read, it has to do with the fact that sometimes when we have a property owner, they meet the setbacks, let's say their home is 25 feet from the right-of-way as required in that district, and then something comes along where the city actually needs to acquire, for some reason, additional right-of-way, and as a result of that, that property owner is found to be in non-compliance. Through no fault of their own, they built properly, but something happened where a street was widened, there was a change in something with respect to a nearby property that led to more right-of-way acquisition. That this would say that you are not deemed to be in non-compliance. You're basically legal non-conforming status, that we're not going to be coming after you for having violated the zoning code. That's the guts of it, in short, really the heart of it. So unless there's any questions, I would recommend adoption of ordinance number 1534.
We have a motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman Tompkins. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Item N, second reading of ordinance number 1535, municipal code amendment to chapter 18, modifying regulations related to major street setbacks, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a companion ordinance that went through the process with the Plan Commission in late summer and early fall. This one is related to major street setbacks. We have a number of streets that are classified in our community as major arterials. You know, you think McMillan, think Peach, think Oak, some of those streets, heavily traveled, where there's a setback of 50 feet from the right-of-way. That's pretty large. The thought in doing that has always been, well, those streets may need to be widened due to additional traffic. What if we want to make it a 4-lane roadway where it isn't a 4-lane roadway, or something else needs to happen to widen the street and, in some way, shape, or form. So the thought is it's a little bit too intrusive to property owners. How could we look at maybe shortening that a little bit without cutting off our nose to spite our face? So the thought was, why don't we look at a different way? Why don't we say, take the setback requirement of that district. If you're in an S4 or an S2 or whatever zoning district you're in, take that normal district setback and add 10 feet to it. So instead of being required to be 50 feet away from the street on, let's say, a portion of West McMillan, you now have to be only whatever that district is plus 10 more feet, which I think probably is 25 plus 10 for 35. We felt that was enough to allow for additional right-of-way if the street ever needed to be widened, and yet didn't, again, unduly limit the rights of private property owners to expand their use of their property. So with that in mind, unless there's any questions, staff would recommend approval of ordinance number 1535.
We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Spiros. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Item O, request to approve budget resolution number 22-2025, Airport Master Plan, presented by Jennifer Solinsky, Finance Director.
Good evening. Way back in November of 2021, the City of Marshfield was party to a contract for planning and consultation services for the Airport Master Plan. At that time, the project was added to the 2022 budget, and the estimated cost was $25,000. All the details weren't exactly known at that time, but in 2022, we'd only been invoiced a couple of $1,000s. And then we've heard of staffing issues at the BOA, and then we've got nothing until 2025. We began receiving invoices in the late spring and early summer, and city staff has met with the BOA and DOT staff to figure out how much more is coming and when the plan will be complete. We've been informed that the city will be responsible for roughly $50,000 of the project's $300,000 cost. So that's the first part of the budget resolution. The second part of the budget resolution is we had a DOT grant in 2021 for a credit card reader. This past summer, we worked on gathering the documentation for our reimbursement, which we have received. However, the BOA has to invoice the city for its local share, which is $4,105.80. So those are the two items that will be on the budget resolution. The airport reader can be funded by the grant proceeds, but we just need authorization to pay our local share. Coincidentally, all around the same time, the finance and airport staff learned that there was some leftover ARPA grant funding from 2020 to 2022 that we had not yet received. So we're expecting to receive about $45,000. And during the pandemic era, those expenses would have gone to reimburse operating expenditures. We've made it through that time period, so I am recommending that we apply those grant monies towards our local share of the airport master plan, because there's no room in our debt funding, or there's no fund balance available in the airport capital improvement plan itself. So with that, I would recommend approval of budget resolution 22-2025.
We have a motion on the floor by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman Dellis. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item P, request to approve budget resolution number 23-2025, 2024 continuing appropriations presented by Jennifer Solinsky, Finance Director.
Okay, so this is an annual process that we go through each year. And at the end of 2024, the Common Council had committed to carry forward some unspent budget monies at the end of 24 into the budget of 2025. The details of those would have been $43,345 for information technology related to our implementation of our software, Tyler Munis. And the other piece of that total was $9,798, which was actually part of a $50,000 budgeted expense in 2023 for ongoing monitoring of our Paget landfill. These expenditures, which you approved to carry forward as committed fund balance, have actually been now spent in 2025, and this tidies up the city's budget in allocating those committed funds to these expense accounts. So with that, I would recommend approval of budget resolution 23-2025 for the purpose of increasing the budget in accordance with the items added to committed fund balance in the previous year.
We have a motion by Alderman Tompkins, second by Alderman Spiros. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you. Item Q, request to approve 2026 insurance renewals presented by Jennifer Solinsky, Finance Director.
Included in your packet this evening is the insurance renewal package from the city's carrier, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, and all of the various policies that they insure for us. The only exception to that would be our aviation policy, which the League does not handle that type of insurance, and that's handled through Tricor. In that particular policy, we're in our third year of a 3-year agreement, which held the price flat. Otherwise, all of the components of our insurance for workers' comp, liability, automobile, crime, cyber, sewer backup, property, those total changes between 25 and 26 are a decrease of $18,363, mostly in terms of workers' compensation. Our mod rate did go down slightly from 25 to 26, so that does result in some savings for us. So with that, staff is recommending Common Council approve the 2026 insurance premiums as presented and authorize the finance director to execute those renewals.
We have a motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. And that motion passes. Thank you. Item R, request to authorize acceptance of the Wisconsin DNR Forestry Fire Protection Grant and approve budget resolution number 24-2025, providing the city's required matching funds, presented by Everett Mueller, Fire Chief.
Good evening. I wanted to basically bring this up for the UTV project and the grant overview. The department identified the need for a fire EMS unit to enhance wildland firefighting, patient transport in parks and trails, and then emergency response to community events. This is part of the 2027 CIP process. Since then, we've basically come up with $14,421 in community donation, which have been secured from local partners. This would include Ford Bank. They've given $10,000 towards this project. Enbridge, $250 towards this project. SNR Truck is going to be $3,000 toward the vehicle build-out. And then Simplicity Credit Union, $250. State Farm Insurance, $1,000. Marshfield Area Community Foundation, $2,906. And Dennis Haley, who happens to be my neighbor, gave $15. So every little bit counts, and that's certainly a big piece of this as well. One thing that we looked at was the total project cost, which was $37,031. The department was rewarded the $5,000 DNR grant toward the fire suppression EMS skid unit component of the UTV project. So what we've done is we've broken this into 2 phases and said that we would go ahead and we would build out the first phase, which is the skid unit that goes in the back. That can allow us to haul EMS patients. In addition to that, it can allow us to also do fire suppression if we need to in certain areas of the community. So this will allow us to do that piece of it. The UTV project, or the skid project or portion of this would be $22,732. We did secure the funding, as was broken down earlier. So we're looking at donations of $14,421, which I kind of read off earlier. And then we would also be pulling money from the DNR grant, $5,000, fire prevention budget, $311, EMS fund, $5,000. And like I said earlier, the SNR project, where they're going to do it in the build-out phase of that piece, they'll add $3,000 into that build-out. I think with the overall phased-in plan, I think this will help us to meet the 2027 CIP. We're hoping to go ahead and capture the rest of it in the 2026, 2027 process, and hopefully find full funding from the city, from the community, and hopefully not have to take anything out of the CIP as the overall goal. For this evening, just looking to adopt the budget resolution number 24-2025, authorizing the fund transfers and expenditure of $22,732 to purchase the skid unit. And then the second part is to formally accept the $5,000 DNR FFP grant for the fire EMS unit UTV project. Apologize, I can't speak this evening.
That's all right.
On the other side, just so everybody knows, the Fire and Police Commission did pass this, and that's something that was at the last one that was under FB 25-085, which was their motion. I just asked for those things, and I'd answer any questions you may have at this point.
We have a motion on the floor by Alderman Tompkins, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Alderman Tompkins?
Thank you, Chief Mueller. I'm just wondering if there is someone who's injured in a wooded area, do you bring the skid on another truck? Like, because how fast does a UTV actually get through town, and does that UTV have lights? So are you using it sort of as an ambulance, or do you get the ambulance there first and then you're bringing somebody?
We do it simultaneously. So what would end up happening is we would bring that unit in. Basically, we'd drive it there at this moment. Once we get the skid is going to be put on a pallet for the time being until we can get the UTV to go underneath it, which will be hopefully the next part of the project. Once we get that, then we'll be able to put the two units together and we would drive it to the location. It could take some time, but they do go a little bit faster. We do have the ability to use the trail or the streets within the city, utilizing the UTV part of it. I do believe with red lights and siren, and I can confirm that with the police department, but once we do red lights and siren, we can pretty much go on any road in the city of Marshfield, so that will speed or expedite that. If we need to in the future, we are looking to get a trailer for this as part of the bigger package, and if we need to haul it to a location, we certainly can. It wouldn't be our go-to feature, it's when we get somebody that's far back in. Not that long ago, we ended up having somebody that was in the McMillan Swamp, and two of our personnel had to carry that person out a long ways and actually they fell out of a tree stand way back in the area. This would have been something that could have really helped in that particular situation and something that's in the outer, broader area, not just the city of Marshfield, but outside, but will certainly help within the city as far as some of our outreach areas.
So at the moment, you wouldn't be able to do it outside the city unless you drove it there. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, at this point, we're basically just looking to build that UTV packet, the skid project or the skid piece that would go on the back of the UTV. And then again, putting that in a pallet, SNR will store that for us. I mean, the reason we have to build this out is because we need to be able to meet the grant. And as long as we can show them that that piece has been built, then they'll take pictures of it and that'll be enough to satisfy the document for the grant.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Request to approve framework for membership of RFQ selection team Weinbrenner redevelopment project presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, at the last council meeting on September 23rd, this body authorized issuance of a second RFQ, request for qualifications, looking for someone we could work with to redevelop the Weinbrenner property at 305 West 3rd Street. A week later on the 30th, I actually sent out, working with the consultant from Vanderwall, over 100 emails to companies in the Midwest thought to be potentially interested in a project of this nature. The deadline for those responses is on November 7th, so people still have about 3.5 weeks left to respond to us about their interest in the project. Again, that would be submitting information about the firm, the people that would be working on the project, their experience in other communities, things that they've done, showing the ability to perform such work. We look forward to getting responses. However, we need to look ahead to what's going to happen when we receive those responses. Last time in the fall of 2024, we set up a committee that had a five-member group, 2 members of the Community Development Authority Board, 2 members of this body, and then I was the 5th member. We did have some people who sat in on the conversations, but they weren't technically members of the board and didn't vote per se. In talking with Vanderwall and our staff group, we thought maybe it'd be good to expand that group a little bit. So what you see is a 9-member proposed framework for this group would include the members I mentioned, 2 council members, 2 members from the CDA board, and me as city administrator, but also Mayor Teestrake, our economic development consultant, Josh Miller, a representative from Main Street Marshfield, potentially the president of their board or someone acting on their behalf, and then maybe a member of the local development community. That could be a banker, realtor, a developer. It would have to be someone who had no ties whatsoever to any respondent to the RFQ. It was thought that those final 2 people from Main Street and from the broader community might give a perspective that it would be a little bit different and unique to what those of us who are tied directly to government might have. So with that in mind, staff would recommend council authorization to find members to fit into that framework for the RFQ team.
We have a motion by Alderman Fire, second by Alderman Dellis. Any questions, comments from the council? Alderman Spiros?
Thank you. I'm not in favor of the last 2, the Main Street Marshfield representative or the member of the development community. I would be concerned about some conflict with a member of the development community. And then my other thoughts is that so much of what we wanted was discussed in closed session and is information that people on this board know about. So I just feel like adding more people into the mix of, I just don't think that's a good idea. I think it's too many people and I don't think that it's necessary.
Any other comments? Alderman Curran?
Are we allowed to have a third council member?
I think, and we've talked about this before, that's kind of walking the line as far as how many elected officials you would want. That'd be 4 total with the mayor. I looked to the city attorney.
For the purposes of just having that committee, that,
Mhm.
I don't,
And ultimately making recommendation to the council as to
Yeah.
what consult or developer we might want to work with.
so I don't see anything illegal in doing that. So, I mean, if that's the question, I don't know of anything that would be unlawful in that regard.
And if I can add to Councilmember Spiro's comments, I mean, perhaps you'd be interested if the body didn't want to see one or both of those people as actual members of the team, that they might be resources in some way to give input into the process. We had people who were actually at the meetings and the interviews who were not members, but, you know, we did allow them to have some commentary in terms of what they were hearing. In fact, we actually had citizen comments, quite frankly, at those meetings. But I think I think I understand what you're saying. I think it's a good perspective to hear from people though outside of the body and hear what they're saying. But I leave it to you guys to decide what you want for the committee makeup.
Mr. Cran would like to amend.
Yes. I'd like to remove the Main Street member and add a council member in their place.
Okay, Alderman Tompkins?
All right.
Is there a second to that motion? I apologize. Alderman Spiro seconds that motion. Oh, yeah. Okay. Alderman Tompkins, you withdrew?
My question is related to the first motion, so I think I need to wait for that. Because now it's amended. Do I need to wait for that?
No, because we're actually going to vote on the original amendment, or original motion, then we're going to vote on the amendment, correct?
No.
No. Okay. But it should, I guess, you tell me what's, oh, there's Andrew. Okay, hi, Andrew. Okay, so we will vote on the amendment first.
I want to find out if you know what we're talking about.
Probably not.
Did you hear what we're speaking about on this, Andrew?
I did not. I won't vote on this.
Okay.
I wasn't here for it.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the amendment. And Mr. Cran, would you please give us your motion once more? Your amended motion is.
I would like a board member from with the
And you agree, Alderman Spiros? Okay, so all those in favor of that amending? Yeah, I know, are we supposed to? No? Yeah. So did you want to do something with the amendment, or are you doing something with the original motion?
I have a question.
Okay, Alderman Tompkins?
Thank you. So, Steve, when this structure was proposed, was it proposed by our consultant at Vanderwall? Is that right? Or
We
how did
have
this-
regular meetings with a consultant from Vanderwall, and Jennifer and Josh are on those calls along with Josh Miller. And we talk about, actually, Josh, you're not necessarily on all those calls, but we talk about, the whole Vanderwall project and some of the details. And when we were talking about this, I think it came out of that more would be better, more voices might be better than just 5 to get a better cross-section. And that's where the idea and that conversation came up, to maybe look at a representative from Main Street. Since the Main Street group is affected, there's some concern there about how this project might affect positively or negatively the immediate downtown area around Central Avenue. And then it was also thought that maybe just getting some perspective from somebody who knew how to do development, who knew what it took to have a successful development, might be instructive too. That's where, I mean, Jackie from Vanderwall signed on to the idea that that was a good 9-member makeup to bring forward to you. But there were other voices kind of weighing in on that idea as well.
Thank you.
And now we're going to vote on the amended, which is to take out the Main Street and put in a 3rd council member. Please vote. And that motion passes. Pardon me? Okay.
As amended.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor For the original motion and a second by Alderman Dellis, Alderman Tompkins. I'm not sure what's going on here. I apologize.
You just voted to amend the original motion. Now we have to go back and vote on the original motion as amended. And
Okay, so Alderman Tompkins, you don't want to speak now? Okay, just want to make sure, because your light was on and then it was off, so I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Okay, so we are, now, I'm sorry, Jess, would you tell us one more time what we're voting on?
You're voting on the motion now as amended.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor, please vote. That motion passes, wow. Okay, item T, suggested items for further agendas. Alderman Tompkins?
Okay, so this is just sort of a segue from our budget meeting. And so I am wondering if I can ask committees to come up with plans and reports. So the first would be the Park and Rec Committee. If they could give us a report about the various parks that we have and whether any of them need to be retired. But this would be a plan that would be over a number of years so that if at any point there needs to be a playground replacement or something, there's a plan of whether that land is going to continue to be a park. So that would be a long process, but if they could start that process, it would be great. The second would be finance, budget, and personnel. If you could come up with a report for a consulting contract with Mackey to see if it could be more of a, you're asking them to do various things that the city can't do, and whether that would be a set fee for that. And that could be in the 2027 budget. And then lastly, I don't know where this would go, but this would be a request, and I'm not quite sure how it would work out, whether it'd be a full council. But if we could get a list of specific activities that we would want the community development director to do. For instance, we would like this person to write grants for us. We would like this person to respond to RFIs, specific list of activities so that we have a better idea of what we actually need from this position, and then whether that could be something that we could ask people in various contracts to do. Thank you.
Alderman Spiros?
Thank you. I was wondering if we could get Dale in here and to give us a report on the fair with all of the financials attached to it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, item U, adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin Statute Chapter 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, and conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Number 1, develop assistance for project at Fry Court off Veterans Parkway. Number 2, develop agreement for project located in Mill Creek Business Park. Number 3, development agreement for project at West McMillan Street / St. Joseph's Avenue. Number 4, request to extension of time to construct on property located in Daniels Addition. And number 5, possible new tourism entity agreement with Visit Marshfield. And we have a motion to go into closed session by Alderman Dellis, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Please vote to go into closed session.
Mr. Rigel?
Yay.
We're in closed session. We'll take a 5-minute break.